Welcome to the second episode of My Next Move. I am super excited to be hosting our very first guest on this show. He is an incredible individual. And forewarning, before we give off the introduction to who our guest is, I want to apologize for the video that I created because I filmed it in the wrong size. So if you're watching the YouTube video, it's going to be all out of sorts. It's the very first episode I recorded with a guest, so something had to go wrong, of course. But my apologies, it will not happen again. And all the audio and podcasts, everything should be running smoothly on the audio side. So just the video is all out of sorts, so my apologies again. But without further ado, I would love to introduce our very first guest on My Next Move. I'm super excited about this. You've probably seen him all over social media. He has over 230,000 followers on TikTok, blowing up like crazy on that platform. Has over 10,000 followers on Instagram. He is also a personality on tastylive.com. A really good friend of mine. He is just a great individual. So, without further ado, let's bring on Errol Coleman. Errol Coleman, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you coming along and tagging along this early in the morning.
Yes, got it. Thanks for having me. It's dope to actually be here and be able to chop it up for a little bit. So
you are a digital creator and you're a trader in the stock market, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed on social media that you are more of like an options seller more than an options buyer, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I am for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely buy, but primarily selling most of the time.
Yeah. Have you had like more of a success rate selling options rather than buying options?
Personally, yeah. I mean, it depends what the trade idea is. If it's a short-term trade, like an intraday trade, 90% of the time I'm going to be buying the option and selling the same day.
For sure.
But if it's holding overnight, 90% of the time it's selling, and at the same time I have seen a higher success rate with selling options rather than buying.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. They're literally designed to decay, like completely designed to dissolve, which is like, it's pretty interesting to me because I've been trading for 3 years on my own now, but for probably about 6-7 years, and I've noticed that it's like, when you're swing trading, if you're not day trading, that theta decay will eat you alive.
Yeah, it kills you. And I mean, you know how it goes too. A lot of traders will buy the weekly options, and if they get stuck in their position, they'll bag hold. And I mean, bag holding an option that you buy is one of the worst things you could do because of theta, as you know. So.
And the worst part is like and then somebody will average down, right? So like they'll average down, try to get a lower price, but then like maybe you're down 50 a contract instead of 100, and now you have 2. So if it goes against you again, it's pretty volatile in the market right now. It's like where is the market going to go at this point?
Yeah.
Right? So it's nice to are you more of like a covered call kind of guy or selling cash secured puts?
Actually, I do a lot of I sell a lot of vertical spreads.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I sell a lot of vertical spreads. I mean, I have the intention of when I really want to beef up my portfolio, definitely sell a lot more covered calls and stuff like that when I purchase more shares of the companies that I want to get into. But for the most of the time, I'm selling a lot of 45 days till expiration, like iron condors, vertical spreads. But if I'm doing weeklies, it's almost always vertical spreads. I'm selling either put spreads or credit spreads. Put spreads or call spreads.
Damn, you got the whole professional trading style too. That's awesome, man. Yeah. I would love to get into that so people that are listening can understand what that all means. But before we get into that, I would love to know a little bit about who Errol Coleman is, like where you come from. You're not from Tampa, right?
I'm not. Yeah, I've been out here for about like a year and a half now, maybe.
Yeah. How do you like it?
I like it a lot, honestly. I'm originally from Colorado, so I'm used to a little bit colder weather like you. You're from New York, but I mean, I can't complain. The weather's always nice. I mean, the winter months are almost perfect out here. It's not like too humid and sweaty like July, June, August, those kind of months. But other than that, I mean, the environment, I like Tampa, and I like the people that are in Tampa, and I mean, meeting more individuals, like-minded individuals like you are down here too. So
I've noticed that. I've noticed a lot of people down here like entrepreneur-based, or they're like really on this hustle, this grind.
Yeah.
I've noticed last year that Tampa was the #1 most moved to city.
Yeah.
So do you think that's more of like people coming down here for that entrepreneurial mindset, or like younger kids just coming here because it's really young?
I mean, I would say so. I would say you and I are in that category.
Yeah, thanks.
We kind of add to that statistic. So I would say so, and we kind of are down here for similar reasons too. So
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that what you're doing right now as an options trader and content creator is helping you down here more so than back in Colorado, right? Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Colorado. To be honest, I don't know. It's definitely nice to be around more like-minded individuals, but so far since I've been out here, I'm not antisocial, but I pretty much do the same thing that I was doing in Colorado. I kind of have the same routine, sticking to it, but I would say being out here, it's been a lot easier. I think maybe I was thinking about it when I was in Colorado. I was like, it's pretty easy to get to the gym and do those the routine things that you need to do when when there's nice weather.
100%.
And when it's easy to get to. And I don't know, I think my environment being down here in Tampa has a lot to do with that. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know where I'm really going with that. But I don't know if I don't know if it'd be changed too much. But the morale or how I feel is a lot
100%.
better.
I feel that different. It's like a different energy down
Yeah,
there.
it's a different energy for sure.
The warmer weather, the people you're surrounded by. I don't know if the energy is better because I feel like in the Northeast, like in New York, there's people everywhere running around all the time. So the energy up there is just a completely different headspace. But it feels like people here are like always trying to be healthier, trying to be like, I don't know, do the next best thing. Or like it's more like self-care feeling down here. I don't know. So maybe that's what's pushing up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
and when you have that circle, of guys doing very similar things that you're doing, everyone's kind of hitting the gym, you're going to be, consciously or subconsciously influenced in a positive or negative way. So
100%. They always say, work out in the gym where you're not the biggest guy,
exactly.
or like, work somewhere where you're not the smartest. Right. So it's interesting. It's pretty interesting because I felt the difference down here. It's like way more calm, but I feel like I'm way more productive, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think you'll stay here for quite a while?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. At first, when I was here for the first 6 months, I mean, I really liked it. I liked the weather, but I wasn't super fond of it. But honestly, when I compare it to other places like Miami, even though I really like down south in Miami and all that, Tampa is a really growing city, and it's like it's nothing too crazy, but it's like Miami's down there if you wanted something a little bigger, but it's kind of just right. I don't know.
Have a little bit more fun down there.
Exactly.
Yeah, Miami, man, I love Miami. I thought about the same thing going over there versus here because, the state taxes in Florida is zero, so moving businesses down here is important. But, I just feel like this is like an investing city, right? It's like an investment because if you buy something here, you're going to be, like, your money's going to go a lot further over here. But to be honest, it's not cheap.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, for the prices to live down here in Tampa, you could pretty much live down in Miami. The prices are getting
Miami,
up there, so.
New York. I'm going out and there's like old fashions. Right? I'm doing this 30-day hard challenge, so I'm not drinking, but I look at them still. $12 for an old fashioned here. It's like it's only $14 in New York. So it's like where's the
you might as well, saving money? Exactly.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, even rent and stuff like that, it's getting up there to compare to Miami, and it's just crazy. It's definitely a growing city. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about you. So you were from Colorado, right? Did you go to college at all? Did you go to school?
Yeah. So I went to a small D2 in Colorado. I was playing college for a little bit. I only played my freshman and sophomore year. And then after that, that's when I had the conversation with my coach that I kind of had these other things that I'm trying to aspire to do, and that was when I was kind of more building websites, doing stuff like that in the market. It was around that time, so I realized soccer started to feel a little bit more like I hate to say it, but it started to feel a little bit more like a burden. Yeah. It started to feel a little bit more like a chore. Our program wasn't doing too well. We got a new coach. Everything was just kind of new, so
it's like a job,
exactly, right? Going to weights, going that. Once football, soccer started feeling like that, it was like, is this something I should really be dedicating my time to? You're about 20 years old now, sophomore year. You're like, I really need to be focusing on what I'm going to build my foundation. 100%. And all right, I'll say I'm not going pro. We got to admit that. It's like, all right.
That's a hard thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm not going pro.
Hard thing, right?
What's it going to be? So that's when I kind of cracked down on what exactly I wanted to go after. So
Yeah, and I feel you, man. I was a basketball player, and it's hard to hang up the shoes because you're not going pro. But it's like I've been doing this my whole life, so it's like it's like the first heartbreak.
Exactly, a little bit of an identity crisis.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit. So
for sure. So you started building websites? Is that what you said?
So I was into the market first, but when I was building websites and was kind of introduced to, white labeling, drop shipping fulfillment, different type of fulfillment styles, all that kind of stuff around 2017, 2018 time, I was like, okay, cool. If I could, find a little bit of success in this, I could use some of that capital and put it over into my trading portfolio and use that money to trade, or vice versa. Maybe if I can, grow this small trading portfolio, maybe I could put more capital into the websites and other businesses that I'm trying to build, agencies, whatever, Sure. I was definitely that 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid that's like seeing these other guys that are our age now doing all these things, kind of getting inspired by them and just trying everything to see, what might work and what sticks with me. And that's kind of where I was at that point. So
yeah, it's crazy, man. You said two things there. It's like, one, when you're young, it's like I feel like people are younger now trying to get involved in the market because they have access to all this information through social media, which is a great thing because you're also a digital creator, which I want to get into as well. But I feel like a lot of people that are like, you see people on like Twitter or Instagram or TikTok trying to like talk about the market. And they're like 14, 15. It's like, holy shit, man. I was crazy. I wasn't doing anything like that. Yeah. But that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I was first getting into the market, I was, around 18, 19. And I remember thinking, man, I wish I would have learned about the market when I was like 15, 16. And I remember I was looking at a comment section one time and somebody was like, man, I'm 30. I wish I would have learned about the market when I was 25. And then someone was like 40 something. They're like, man, I wish I would have learned. So I feel like
we'll never a bad time to start.
Exactly. But yeah, the internet today definitely provides such a huge opportunity to younger people.
Yeah, so. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Man. So one thing that you said when you were building out websites, trying to get money to funnel this trading account. So you're looking to, build elsewhere than just focus on trading solely, which I feel like a lot of people are doing nowadays. So like trading is obviously one of the hardest industries to get involved in, right? So the market's up and down. You're competing against Wall Street and professionals. I feel like a lot of people are just like focusing solely on this rather than utilizing it as like a, almost like an account to funnel long-term investments or other businesses or get money to funnel these in. Is that kind of your aspect still? Is that like still your model today? Is like try and bring in other revenue streams to build up the trading account and then maybe allocate it elsewhere?
No, I would say after a while now my account's finally at the place that I want it to be capital-wise. So I'll probably not really be funding it anymore. So kind of more the reverse.
Exactly, yeah.
But I still want to get to a specific level before I'm really taking capital out of places like that and using it elsewhere. So definitely treating it like a business. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at with that right now.
That's genius, actually. I feel like a lot of people come into trade almost it's like a gamble. Right? People come in, they try to hit those big wins. Like those Robinhood traders of 2020, 2021, where you could have literally closed your eyes, threw something at the wall, and made 1,000%, which is crazy because it was just a straight arrow up. But now it's like a lot of those people have left. I feel like a lot of the retail investors and the retail traders are like scared almost, They're like scared to get back involved. They're like, they buy stocks at like 400 when Coinbase was there and now it's worth what, 40, 50 bucks. So like people got crushed, right? In 2022, these overinflated prices. So it's almost like they're scared now, right? It's like they're scared to get back in the market, but the market has fallen 20, 30%. So when do you think, if ever, do you see people come back in to funnel in to make the next cycle?
Man, who knows? Honestly, I know just the majority of people, just the public, I guess, or retail, including myself, just likes to buy when things are high because that's when it feels good. But I mean, if I was somebody that made a lot of money on accident during 2020, during the GameStop era, everything was going up, whatever it was, I definitely would have saved a lot of that money for this time where a lot of things are on sale. Tesla, all that, scoop all those shares up and then start selling calls against them.
Yes.
And then, because that's why I think the market is such a great tool. It's like you can use your short-term trading and then use that to funnel over into your long-term investments. 100%. It's like, okay, if I can make some profit doing this, then I can finally accumulate quantities of 100 shares to start selling covered calls about or on whatever, underlyings that you want to own. But I think that's a good strategy too.
What I think is crazy is that everybody in the market, they just like the people that are not educated, because I think we could both agree that the educational system failed us for financial literacy. Right?
Oh yeah.
So like I didn't really know any of this until after college or like at the end of college when I started exploring it on my own. They don't really teach these principles like selling covered calls or anything like that. And I think that they just keep telling you to buy and hold long term and don't look at your portfolio. That's passive investing. I feel like is kind of dead, right? I mean. You could still make money compounding, and you might have a different view. So I'd love to hear your view on the compounding long term. But you can make money that a lot of people don't know it on your short term income by selling covered calls. And if you're holding 100 shares, you can sell covered calls against your position and collect that premium. And like we talked about on the options chain, they're literally designed to dissolve to zero. And unless you're buying like during a short squeeze or something like that, you're most likely going to be making. Let's say, like 6 times, 7 times out of 10, you're probably going to be making money on those covered calls. If it doesn't expire to zero, you can at least, buy back that covered call and make a little bit of premium. So I feel like people just don't understand that they can make short-term income just by holding.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like you just don't know exists until it's presented to you and you're like, oh snap, this has existed the whole time, and 100%. You just don't know what you don't know. So,
it's crazy. Do you think, like, what on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think that the hardness level is to learn covered calls for somebody that's just like normal? It's not that
just
hard.
Getting into the completely foreign to the market, never been in it, or somebody that's just kind of
somebody
in the
that's
market.
like an average investor, like, oh, I know how to buy like a share of Apple.
Oh, if you know how to buy shares already, it's super simple. I think one thing that I think is a little intimidating is the option chain. I think the option chain is intimidating, and I think a lot more people would be involved with options if it wasn't as intimidating.
For sure. So, it's so much like going on. It's like so much traffic.
And people, whenever people hear options, you just hear risk. But options are really, intended to minimize your risk and mitigate your risk, and a lot of people don't realize that either. So
100%. It's called they're called derivatives for people that are listening, but that sounds like a pretty scary word, but it's literally just like a tool to like hedge yourself. That's why these big banks, hedge funds, institutions, they're making so much money because they're utilizing these tools to basically like build a little fort. So it's just a protection tool, really.
Exactly.
But so that's your main thing. You're a trader. You do more so. I wanted to talk about how you were going in depth on like vertical spreads. Is there anything like specific that you go into that for somebody that's listening that's more of a a beginner? What would that mean to them? If you were to discuss like what your process is going through that.
A vertical spread. I would say it would just be like selling a naked position hedge. So it would be like a vertical spread could be you buying a call and then simultaneously selling a call at the same time, and then that would create the vertical spread.
Yeah.
And essentially, what that is doing is the extra contract that you're selling or buying is hedging the one that you're buying. So, for example, if I wanted to, let's say, sell the 200 call on Apple, if I just sell that naked call outright, that's a lot of risk, I'm assuming, because a short position can go to infinity. The stock price could go up to 1,000, and that short put that you sold is going to be worth a ton of money, and you're going to be down a lot of money because you're short that option contract. And if you buy that extra wing, if you buy, let's say, the 210 contract, if you buy the 210 put, let's say, right above the 200 call or 200 put that you sold, that then creates the spread, and then that one that you bought, hedges for the other one that you sold. So if it were to go to 1,000, well, you bought one, so you make money on that one. Exactly. So it's kind of hard to explain just by speaking. It's a little bit easier.
So you're trying to like basically keep it within a range.
Exactly.
So you're kind of keeping within the range. It's like the stagnant is what makes you the most money.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when this market is chopping, like the last like 2-3 months.
Exactly. Because one of the things is when you're selling the options is you already kind of have an edge immediately when you put the position on if you sell an out of the money option, because if the stock price stays the same until expiration, you would make 100% of the profit, and the buyer would lose 100%. If the stock just stayed the same once you sold it, so definitely an edge there.
Yeah, so that's a great explanation. And would you say that when you're selling, right? So when you're selling an option, are you usually letting it expire to zero, or are you?
It depends.
Sometimes
So I was actually going through my options chain the other day, and I was looking at my previous positions on SPY, and there were a handful where I let expire worthless until Friday, and then there were a couple where I got out a little early. Let's say Thursday, maybe a day before expiration, just because the market was so volatile, and if the market is still kind of pricing in a decent-sized move, I think it's like, well, if I already am making maybe 70% or 60% of my, if I'm already making like 50, 60%, if I'm up already 50, 60% on this contract, I have a day left, it's like, is that worth holding for the extra, to squeeze out the extra 20, 30%? So it's like, that's what I'll kind of consider. And like sometimes I'll realize that the market isn't pricing in a big move. So it's like the probability of this coming back and going through my break even is just so slim, then I'll hold till expiration. But if there's a chance, then I'll take it, at around 50%. So it really depends on the situation.
100%. I always say, no one went broke taking profits. That's always great. So is SPY more so
I would say so.
Calls?
So I would say so. And as most people that's watching me, when it comes down to options, know I started off trading options with Tom Sosnoff on the Tasty Trade Network live. So one thing he has tried to instill in us is like being product indifferent. So I will say, like, I do trade Spike pretty often, but if he watches this and sees that, I trade a lot of things, which I do. That's what he wants. He wants you to be able to be very versatile and trade many things, but I definitely stick to SPY a lot, and I trade a lot of underlying.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing, man. I've been doing a lot of SPY, a lot of SPX, which is super risky, just like for those day trades, stuff like that. But then you'll just see some gold mines, like I saw Goldman Sachs the other day that had like a $10 gap fill, and those contracts, options chain, like you said, if people understood more the options chain, it's like the in the monies are $200 a contract, and the ones that are only a $10 move to fill that gap are like $1,400. It's like that probability, even more on the buying side rather than the selling side. There's still so much opportunity if you're catching that right.
100%.
And that's where technical analysis comes into play, which is, there is a lot to it. So I'm understanding right now. I'm like trying to think as like a beginner investor. If you're listening to this conversation, you're probably like, holy hell, what is going on right now? But it's really, what do you think like the first 3 steps were to be if you were like a beginner trader? What is like one, 2, 3 that you would need to learn in order to be like, okay, I understand a little bit about what you're saying?
Trading or options?
I guess like trading in general,
Trading in
options,
general?
like would it be technical analysis?
Yeah,
Would
yeah,
it be
yeah.
like the options chain? Would it be like,
I would say
maybe the Greeks? I don't know.
if it's options, I would probably first understand what the difference is between buying and selling an option is, and I think that's going to explain a lot, and then that will help you understand just a lot from there and how the Greeks work. Just understand the difference between buying and selling.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I would probably first start with buying and selling like one share first on whatever it is, a penny stock, whatever it is. Just buy one share, practice buying and selling, learn how to use the platform that you're using, and then just seeing how the fluctuation in the price makes your P&L go up and down. Just super basic. That's probably what I would do first.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And what you said platform. So what platforms are you on? Are you a fan of Robinhood?
No, I'm definitely not a fan of Robinhood. That was the first platform I'm pretty sure I ever downloaded. I think I was a freshman in college, so around 2017.
Yeah.
I remember downloading Robinhood. I remember checking that for my stocks, buying and selling off of that, but like using separate charts. And then I started using the Thinkorswim charts for a little bit, and I was using that in tandem with the Robinhood. I think that's how a lot of people kind of start off. And then now that I'm heavily into options, I primarily just only use the Tastyworks platform.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, and that one's nice. I mean, I've checked out the other platforms, and obviously I'm heavily affiliated with Tasty.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, or Tasty Live, I'm heavily affiliated with, not Tastyworks separated. But the option chain is a little confusing on Thinkorswim, and I see why it can be so intimidating. It's intimidating everywhere you go, but on Tastyworks, it's blown up a little bit bigger. You can see the delta and kind of what you're doing. It lays out the probability of profit for you, the P50, the max loss, max profit, just a little bit better. And I mean, it shows the same data on Thinkorswim as well, but I think you need to be a little bit more sophisticated trader or have a little bit more experience to kind of navigate what you're doing.
I might have to check that out, man. I'm on Thinkorswim right now. I think it's great. I've learned it, but I can tell, like, for beginners, it is a lot to
definitely.
take in at once.
I think it's dope. It has like the curve mode. It shows the risk profiles on there pretty well. I mean, it's pretty dope for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely check that out. So enough on the trading talk, all that other stuff. I want to hear a little bit about you.
By the way, I'm not some like options guru. By the way, I'm not one of those young options guru, but I just share my journey.
For sure. I mean, I feel like I'm the same way as you. Man. It's like I'm still out here learning. I learn every day. I've had some success, over the last 2-3 years. But I think it's like once you learn the game, it's like, oh yeah, I can do this. And you can start scaling that once you are bringing in a good amount of capital. But we're all learning out here about options. So
100%.
But I want to learn a little bit more about Errol Coleman. So you said you're from Colorado. You were playing soccer, and now you're more into the option side. But tell us a little bit about like the digital creator side. So
definitely. So, like I kind of said before, when I was 18, 19, I was inspired by other creators, which is pretty dope. And some of them are now my peers and friends. So that's always a cool thing. But I was inspired by them when I was a little bit younger. So I knew once I got into the market, eventually I was gonna want to share my journey and just share the things that could help other people kind of cut down their learning curve, because the first couple of years I spent so much time and hours on stuff that made no sense, but you just don't know what you don't know, and you don't really know where to go when nobody's really guiding you.
Of course.
So just getting in, I already knew down the road I was going to want to start creating online based off of being inspired by others doing the same thing, just a few years older than me. So I'm a sophomore in college. After I leave that sophomore year of college now, I leave for the summer, so I go working at Walmart, and now I'm working at Walmart, and I'm like, okay, while I work here, I'm still learning stuff in the market. I'm learning a lot of great lessons. I'm saving up my money so that I can buy a YouTube camera and then a YouTube mic and stuff like that. So I'm working at Walmart for that summer, save up my money, come back. Now it's junior year, first semester of junior year. I tried to create my first couple YouTube videos, and let me just tell you, I was like, this is going to be a lot more difficult than I thought. It was kind of awkward. The video just wasn't flowing. You could see just the mess in my dorm in the background, which granted it was actually my homie Seabass stuff in the back, not to throw him under the bus, but anyways, I remember just looking at it like, oh, this is gonna be kind of tough. So I never actually posted any of those videos.
Damn. You still got them?
What's that?
You still have them?
I have a picture of me editing one of the videos when I was working at the ice rink when I went back to the school. So I have a picture of me in the editing thing, editing it. So I have a picture, but I don't have the old footage, which I wish I had.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Back on it. I wish I had it. So that's kind of how I started off, and I never actually put those videos out. But anyways, little short story. Come to the end of that first semester, I have a business class, and we have a final to take. And for this final, we didn't have to take a test, and that's like one of the best things ever when your teacher says you can do a little slideshow thing for your final, and it's not going to be an exam. So I'm like, I'm pumped, I'm ready to go.
Sure.
We're sitting down. We can either go on the first day or second day, so they're passing around the sheet to put your name down for the first or second day. All the spots are filled up for the first day. I was kind of disappointed because I was excited to go, so I had to go the second day instead. We come back, and man, I can even feel my heart rate freaking up just thinking about this story right now.
Just nerves?
Like, yeah, just nerves, yeah. And so I need keep in mind, this is like right after I'm trying to do the YouTube stuff. This is now in December, end of first semester. Anyways, it's the second day. I get up there, they call me. I go up there. I'm pretty excited. I've always seen myself as a confident individual.
Yeah.
We have to log into our own Gmail account, and like for some reason I get up there and I look up and I just freeze. And like the just craziest thing, and the only way I can describe it is like I looked up and everything was super bright. It's like if you were to go on your phone and pick up pick a photo and go and mess with the contrast.
Everything just went
and turn the contrast super bright. That's exactly what everything looked like to me.
That's anxiety 101.
I just started sweating, bro. I don't know what happened, but I've always saw myself as a confident individual. Like I've done presentations before. I've led presentations in bigger classrooms than that one before, even as a freshman. So I don't know what it was in that situation that caught me off guard, but I remember it was just one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
Yeah.
And other than that, I was just kind of disappointed, and I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But anyways, I was able to utter out my presentation. I remember my professor even saying like, "Oh, are you good?" I remember someone, I feel like people at the end were asking me like pity questions. Like asking me about my project because I think they felt bad and they saw how nervous I was and my voice was shaking, and I recognized some of the faces that were still in that classroom, and I think we still follow. I still follow some of the people that were in that classroom on social media right now. So. They probably don't even remember that moment, but I think about it all the time. But
I've seen you come up.
Exactly. But I remember once I finally got through that, I was going back to my dorm, and I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I'm kind of sad because if I can't speak to a room of, 60, 70, or whatever, how many people were in there, how the heck am I going to go online and start talking to other people? So that really discouraged me for a little bit, and that like triggered a trauma response within me. I then was like scared to raise my hand in classrooms even after that. I was scared to talk. I was scared to get called on, and then I would like kind of panic. So just that incident or that event right there like triggered something inside of me. And then anyways, a couple months later, I was thinking like, man, I still want to start posting online and what I'm doing. And I remember I was in business class one time. We were talking about blue ocean versus red ocean, and this was when I started getting into TikTok. And everything that we're talking about today. We're talking about blue ocean versus red ocean, and a blue ocean is essentially a market that doesn't have a lot of competitors, but blue oceans don't always stay blue. They eventually turn to red, so there's going to be a lot more competitors there soon. And that kind of like, I was thinking about that, and I was like, and then at the same time, I remember my friends talking about like, do you ever just find yourself mindlessly scrolling on TikTok? And at the time, I didn't have TikTok, so I was like, no, like, what are you talking about, TikTok? What? But a couple of my friends were always scrolling on it. And then in that moment, I was like, like that, we're blue ocean versus red ocean. That kind of clicked, and at the same time.
What year was that?
This is 2019.
2019, okay,
So TikTok has definitely gained traction by that time. It's already gained traction, all that kind of stuff. But we just switched over to 2020. But my friends were, on TikTok all that whole first semester. So. Then that's when I'm like, okay, let me try some stuff on TikTok. So I leave class, I go to Walmart, I actually buy a little whiteboard, and when I come back to my dorm, and I started just making some stock market content. And then the next week with the board that I bought, I did a video on what the float of a stock was, and that's just, if you don't know, that's just the amount of shares available to the public to trade. And I did a video explaining that and how supply and demand worked with the float of a stock, and that one went viral and got over 1 million views, and that's what really boosted me up. But I mean, before that, I think I had maybe a little over 20,000 followers on TikTok. And at the start of TikTok in 2019 and 2020, the amount of followers you had was a lot different. So like back then, having 100K was a lot more than today having 100K or having 200K. So once I was growing that the first few months, I kind of just, stuck with that momentum. But what I was getting at, though, with that one story was I remember being at the ice rink that I worked at, holding my phone up, trying to like record TikToks, and my hands just shaking. And nobody's even watching me. So it's just kind of crazy how just with repetition and just trying to build that confidence, you can just get through it and get better with whatever it is that you're doing. So
the reps will give you the confidence.
100%.
Man, how did you feel when you saw that video hit 1 million views?
Oh, it was pretty surreal.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. No, it was crazy. It was super crazy. I don't know if it was as crazy as like, No, yeah, that was very surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when it happened. I remember, I think I screenshot it and I posted. I was like, wow, that's crazy. 1 million views, like that's crazy. But it was just surreal to just know that these were real people. Like even just seeing the
100%.
comments, I was like, I was so suspicious about TikTok when it first came out. I was like, there's no way.
That's crazy.
There's no way this is real. And,
Yeah.
you know, and then once people start messaging you for real and like, oh, these are real people, and you start meeting the people in real life, you're like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess it's just surreal, and it's hard to believe at first. It's like, there's
100%.
no way. That's kind
Yeah.
of what it was.
It's kind of weird because like you see that 1 million view and you're like,
Yeah.
it's amazing milestone, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I do it? How do I
Yeah,
do it
exactly.
again?
And you're
How do I
kind of
do it
always
again?
chasing that after that. You're
Yeah.
always going to try and produce a video to do even better and better
Yeah.
and better.
Do you think that that creates kind of like a negative mindset almost in a way? Because like if you're posting something and say it doesn't pop off, right? You get that million view, you get that, you're like high off this dopamine rush, and then you get to like a video and it maybe gets like 2,000 views again. You're like, what do you think about that? You think that, like that? Do you think that hurts you, or that gives you like this motivation to be like, I need to get to that point again?
I think it depends. I think it depends on how you look at it. I think it can work for you or against you for sure. It can definitely turn into a toxic mindset trying to chase that all the time. And I would say it's probably the wrong way to go about it because you can't really tell which video is going to go viral. You just produce good content, produce good content, good content, and it turns into a numbers game.
Kind of happens.
And then one will hit. Yeah, just same thing with that video. I had no idea. Out of all the videos I posted, of course, that's the one that goes viral. But it definitely told me a lot. Like, oh, wow, people really like this structured information on a whiteboard that's easy to understand. So I got a lot of information on what worked and what didn't from that.
Taking notes almost.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. I kind of have a similar story, man. I literally was posting on TikTok, similarly on the trading aspect of things. And I was posting mostly on education always. And then just I just duetted somebody. And they were talking about, like, something that I was doing. So I was like duetting them talking about me, and that went viral. That got 1 million views. And I'm like,
you did a duet.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
it's like a duet almost. So it's weird how the algorithm works, right?
Yeah.
Like who they push out, what they push out, what platform, you know, because YouTube Shorts is different than Instagram.
Yeah.
It's different than TikTok. You know, now there's like Facebook Reels. It's kind of popping off a little bit low key. It's just like it's crazy the algorithms.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's funny how that goes. And to your point, it's like you just want to keep continually putting content out there. Similar to that, it's kind of hard with a duet situation in my experience, but you know, you're just trying to like educate as much as possible so people can retain that information and just run with it.
100%. And I think if you're a creator, like one of the best things is that positive feedback, like actually seeing results from what you're doing. So I think, you know, even from originally posting, one of the first posts I posted, I think I got like 300 views on it, but I had like 2 followers. So so that to me, I was like, it's a lot. Holy moly, 300 views and I have 2 followers. So, you know, I think once you see just a little bit of traction, it makes you like believe a little bit more. It's like, oh, this is real. And then I think it takes you to levels that you don't even realize that you can get to because you have a little bit of belief.
Of course, dude. Social media is literally power.
Yeah,
it's power. So. People use it for entertainment, but there's so much more to it. Right? It's like you can connect. You can start businesses. You can have brand deals. You can do whatever. And I feel like a lot of people that don't know about social media management or social media influencers or like just content creators in general, there's metrics on the back end where you can track this performance. Right? So you can see how many views. You can see like there's creator tools where you can make money off these social media platforms and stuff like that. So. In your experience as a creator, what would you say is like some of like the highs and lows that you've experienced, or you know something that you just wouldn't expect as you're creating content or something like that?
I would say I guess it wasn't really not expected, but I mean just the inconsistencies and just the ups and downs like creators have. I mean, everybody kind of has their time. Everybody kind of has their time where they're really hitting the algorithm, where they're trending the most, and that's kind of where people get their foot in the door with opportunities, because you're not always going to be at the top. You're not always going to be the one trending in your niche.
Yeah.
So I think being able to kind of not be very emotional with it, because there's so many ups and down swings, and I think you just got to get used to you're not always just going to be trending. You're not always going to be popping off. You're not always going to be have super high engagement or anything like that. So kind of just managing your expectations appropriately.
For sure. So what do you think that motivates you in creating this content?
Motivates me, you know,
it keeps going like on those stages of like idling. What motivates you for people that are like trying to be content creators or anybody else? What would you like? What motivates you? What kind of like advice would you have to just like
definitely
keep going?
For me personally, probably my family most of the time, because I remember I got to a point one time last year where for a young individual, for myself, I'm not I'm not like rich. I'm not rich, but
Yeah.
I do decent for myself. And I remember just thinking one time, like, I got to a point where I was doing the same thing every day, and it got super mundane and just really redundant. I remember thinking, like, man, if I didn't have a family, like, what would really push me to like be doing more? It's like I'm okay now by myself and on my own, but I have a family now, and I have a future family that I want to provide for and do things for.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely that, because if it wasn't, I mean, I have food, I have this, so I don't know what it would be to make me excel and really push myself further when things get really mundane. So
For sure.
I think that's something that definitely gets me going. And then on top of that, deep down, it feels good making progress. Like when you're not making progress and you're not doing the things you should be doing, you really don't feel good. You start to not feel good about yourself. Other things start to fall off in your life.
Yeah.
So I think making progress in general is just a huge thing. And I don't know, striving after self-growth, because I know when I'm not striving after that, I don't get really in a good headspace, I would say.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's a great point.
Yeah, I know that was kind of a...
No, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
not
good.
very straight to the point, but...
That's from the soul. It's from the heart. That's good.
It's real, yeah.
Dude,
it's real.
It's crazy, like... it's funny we say, like, you kind of, like, what kind of gets you to that next level. And I always think about this. It's like, you... As kids, or like the movies you see growing up before COVID, you're like working this 9-to-5 job, and you always hear like people are just like going to work doing the same thing every single day, and it's like kind of tiring. But like for you and I, for content creators or traders, or we kind of have like this control, and even people that are working from home and have this remote, we have this control to kind of do whatever we want. And I feel like we kind of forget about that sometimes. It's like, yeah, you're doing the same thing every single day, but like, wait a second, I have the power to be like, oh, I can start, a podcast. Yeah. I can create a new website. I can build out a new company. Like you can do these things now. So I feel like I also get in the same headspace where I kind of get stuck sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, what can I do more? What can I do to feel that progress? What can I do to feel like I'm not just, in that mundane state of...
Yeah, and coasting just doesn't feel good.
It doesn't.
Like, it feels like something's off.
Like you're failing.
Yeah, it feels like you're failing.
Yeah, and you're being surrounded by... I feel like social media could be toxic at that point, too, because you're like, you scroll and you're like, oh, shit, this guy's made $2 million today. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I hear you.
But, you can't believe everything you see, and, like, that mundane feeling I feel you is, like, it's just pretty... You just coast it.
Yeah,
it's like,
you got to be making progress,
Always,
definitely.
yeah.
And I think that's one reason why it's nice to be in the gym too. I think I realized, especially after being being an athlete too, making progress in that way too helps so much, especially if you're not making progress in another area. Like retaining or sustaining progress in one area is like a huge part of it too.
Yeah, whether that's mentality, your diet, like you're just like your physical appearance, like something different, you know. So give us something. So you do a lot of things. You're a trader. You're traveling all the time. You were just in Chicago for
I wouldn't say traveling all the time.
Okay.
I guess it was just coincidence when we met.
Oh, okay.
I happened to be traveling a
Fair
few
enough.
times.
So that's where the headquarters is. Where you go back to Chicago often.
Yeah.
Is that where?
Say that again.
That's you go back to Chicago often.
Yeah, I would say every few months.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty good experience every time. I mean, I was super blessed with the opportunity with Tasty. I mean, to be able to come in, be able to create content with Tasty, something that I have a drive for, something that I really wanted to do. And on top of that, I got to learn about trading from some of the best in the business and some people that have created technology in the trading industry that has been doing it for decades. So it was just such a great opportunity. But yeah, every time I go down there, I learn a lot from Tom. We shoot more content. We do stuff like that. And just trying to pick his brains, really, and just see how he goes about stuff. But I'm not even sure where we were going with that question.
No, I was just going to say, I guess for those that don't know, you are a partner with Tastyworks, right? You're affiliated with them, or you're a personality, right?
I'm under Tasty. I'm officially like under them.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So
congrats. That's a big step. So you're creating content for them? Is that?
Yeah. Okay. So I trade and I create content on there, and I'm also on the live network. So for example, tomorrow I'll probably be talking about a couple of the spy positions that I have on right now. So that is about a 30-minute segment, and I'm on there with Dr. Jim. He's another personality on the network, and we'll be on there, and he'll give me some constructive criticism. He's been in the game a little bit longer than me. He's actually out in St. Pete, funny.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually out in St. Pete.
Small
That's funny.
world, man.
So, yeah, small
Everyone's
world. And that's kind of how we go about the network. But time slot segments, Tom's on there for a lot longer than I am. I don't know how he does it every day. But it's fun being on a live show. And
man, you've come a long way from shaking in front of a class,
right?
Seeing
see what I'm saying? I can't even.
In a big company like that, man.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you're basically like taking content and trading. It's like something you like love to do, and inspired by, and something that you also love to do. And you're like making it a business, and you're like creating this.
Right, and the fact that again that I was able to get the opportunity with Tasty was just mind blowing because it just aligned exactly with what I was trying to do on my own, anyways. So now I get to learn from people that are a lot more experienced than I am, and now I have a lot more resources at my disposal, and then again I get to share everything I learn.
Connections are everything, right?
Yeah. So.
Did you manifest that yourself? Did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you?
So they had reached out to me. They asked if I wanted to be on the live network, and they asked if I ever traded options. I said I never traded options before, but I've been trading equities, just stocks, because I traded small caps. I didn't mention in the beginning, but I was trading that for the first 3 years.
Okay.
Before I got into options. But yeah, they reached out, asked if I ever traded options. I said no. They said perfect. I said what? What? Especially, I said what? He asked if I want to trade live on their network. I was like, I'm down. Kind of scared too. My heart's pounding. I'm sweating, bro. I even remember the times like heart pounding right before I clicked to log into the room. Like they don't even know. Like I'm drenched in sweat. I mean, we have a green screen, but people don't even realize like I'm drenched in sweat once we get off. But that's how we started. It's not like that anymore. I mean, I get heightened nerves sometimes, but I'm able to control it 10x than I was.
Once you get into that flow, you're like, oh
yeah. It only took a couple years.
Yeah, for sure.
it only took like 2 years to finally.
That's crazy.
Be a little bit more comfortable.
So so you're going live tomorrow or today?
I will go live tomorrow.
Live tomorrow.
Yeah. But
where can we watch?
Yeah, definitely. TastyLive.com. So that's TASTY live LIVE.com, and then live market hours.
TastyLive.com.
TastyLive.com, or if you download the TastyWorks platform. The network is being streamed on there live all day as well. So.
Yeah, man, I'll definitely have to tune into that. I would love to see what you guys got going on over there.
Definitely.
So one thing we had a conversation about right before, I wanted to get in real quick. You were talking about ChatGPT. That seems like this big blow up in the world. So kind of relates to content, trading, all things, right? So ChatGPT, where do you stand with that?
I think it's pretty great, especially if you're somebody that's, it's going to be great for everybody, but especially if you're someone that's like a one-man team, somebody that you need copy for, if you need to write copy for your ads, if you need to write blog posts, if you need to write blogs on LinkedIn for whatever industry it is that you're in. If you have a difficult time, structuring your own ideas into sentences that have no grammatical errors, or just structured sentences that make sense, and you're someone that struggles with that, I think that's going to be a perfect tool because... writing wasn't my strongest subject growing up either, especially after seeing my results in my ACT.
I bombed that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not my strong suit. So seeing stuff like that can piece ideas together, I think is pretty exciting.
Dude, for those that don't know what ChatGPT is, it's like this new AI platform. It's blowing up all over social media, all over the internet, really. Yeah. And it's basically just like this robot that can do anything for you, really. It's... What would you say? It's more kind of like it's just like it can do anything.
Yeah,
it's like you kind of plug in any give me like a song to write, and it'll spit out like this big long song, or like tell me a marketing strategy, and it'll give you like this whole in-depth strategy. Obviously, there's like some places you have to fill in a little bit, but
think about it like Google on crack that gives you feedback.
Yeah, it's Google on crack, and you're like talking to a robot, and it spits it right out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So how would you utilize that as like a content creator, or like even like a trader? I feel like it might be kind of tough for trading, but
I think it might be a little tough for trading. But let's say you need to write a blog post for something.
Okay.
You could be like, write me a 4-paragraph blog post with X amount of characters in it. That is based around why, or that gives me data on the best salaries to get your major in, or something like that. Just literally whatever you want it, but you can tell it to structure the blog or the paragraph or the whatever you want it to make for you exactly how you want it. So and then if you don't like it, then you could be like, could you do this instead, or could you minimize this, or could you make it about this instead? So it's pretty cool that you can give it direct feedback. But I think there's just so many different ways you could use it. I mean, if you're someone that's marketing, you could even literally put produce a persuasive ad copy that talks about why my product is the best in this business, and it'll produce exactly that. So I think that helps. A lot.
I think that's a great point, because I think you know this, but I own a marketing agency as well, and one thing that we've been doing a ton is like, you hit a great point, is like, if you're like a smaller team that's trying to grow, or a one-man show, this is the perfect like free employee. So we just had a transition from a graphic designer and like a social media manager. So we just hired somebody, but we've been using ChatGPT.
Okay,
and it has saved us.
How has it been? How has it been utilizing it so far?
Dude, great. Like we go in there, we have like a specific amount of posts. You basically give like the title of the post what you want to talk about, and it's like, give me a post on what SEO is. Spits out SEO.
Exactly.
We just redesigned our entire website.
Crazy.
And it gives me like, so all of our services, I was like, I could like write up a report on what SEO is, Google Ads, all that stuff is, but like, I got a lot of shit going on. I got to do some stuff. So I went to ChatGPT, and all the services on our website, every little caption is spit out through ChatGPT. I literally was like, what is SEO? Told me. What is Google advertisement? Told me. And I just like basically copy and paste, edit a couple things, and then it's all on there. It's like, dude, that saves you so much time.
And it's going to be who's the best at communicating with the software? Who's the best at knowing how to, structure things for the AI to spit out what you want it to? So it's going to be exciting to see.
It's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait. Hopefully it's not like one of those like craze phases.
Yeah.
It's like NFTs, they crash.
No,
They come back.
Yeah. I'm buying call option. I'm bullish on it. I'm bullish on the AI.
Yeah, gotta buy it. How do we buy that, dude? Are they even public? We'll get to that. We'll get to that point. I think Google was talking about buying them or something, getting involved.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I know Microsoft made an investment into something related to that too. I know, so it's gonna be interesting to see.
They own the world, man.
Yeah, we'll see.
But okay, so I want to get into one last thing here. So if I were to give you $1 million right now, what would you do? How would you allocate that money? Would it be investments? Would it be personal? Would it be like real estate? How would you like invest in more equipment to help scale businesses?
I would definitely invest in media equipment.
Okay.
I probably invest in media equipment. I build some type of agency. So many different types of agencies you could build, but I definitely have media equipment since that's such a rising industry and is only going to grow from there.
Yeah.
I would buy a bunch of stock in Tesla, Apple. I mean, pretty much everything. All the boring names, gold,
like
everything.
Now, right?
Yeah,
right
I do
now,
that. Especially right now. And then I would buy a bunch of real estate, especially for tax deduction purposes and stuff like that. Assets.
Assets always.
It's just assets.
No Lamborghini.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you do your taxes correctly, maybe you can get a Lambo or something. I don't know. But assets,
yeah, for sure, man. It's crazy because right now I feel like it's one of the best times we're gonna see for a long time to invest. The market's pulled back 20%. It's kind of in like this weird phase where it's rebounded crazy. But personally, I think that we see another sell off because like deflation and stuff like that is coming into the market. But hopefully we get that, knock on wood, because I'd love to buy more stocks like you're saying. But yeah, man, I feel like that's probably it's great to hear somebody also say like assets, because people would just spend a bunch of stuff like on designer clothes or go out, go party, all that other type of stuff. But
I guess it's just as simple as assets and liabilities, taking it just back to accounting 101.
Exactly. What is your next move going forward to continue the success and get to where you want to be in the future?
My next move, I think is building or strengthening my soft skills, strengthening my communication skills, strengthening my leadership skills, strengthening just how to interact with people. And I think that's going to have a huge impact on getting to where I want to be. So I know it's kind of a different type of answer, but that's kind of something I've been thinking about heading into this new year.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're focusing more on like the creator side, the media side, and like the trading is also there, but it seems like the soft skills to get to that next level.
Yeah. I guess just from a business aspect, definitely. But I mean, always polishing like the trading skills. I guess the trading skills are just managing emotions, stuff like that. But that's something I try to apply with everything. Managing your emotions and just not making emotions when you feel emotional, because you're probably not going to make a rational decision. And I try to take that mindset in to just anything when I'm feeling emotional. Even if it doesn't have with trading, it's like, all right, feeling a little emotional. Let me just simmer down and so I can make the correct decision. But yeah, I'll probably just leave it at that. Build the soft skills.
There you go. Well, there you have it, man. Errol Coleman, you're a well-rounded individual. I'm really glad I met you, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be down here and excited to connect to going on in the future.
Thanks for having me on spot.